Hey everyone, Kevin here, and welcome back to my channel. Now, with the ongoing teacher retention crisis in education, there is one side effect of that I haven't discussed all that much, but which is getting worse: class sizes. And to put a fine point on it, they are absolutely out of control now, to the detriment of both students and the remaining teachers. It's something that's been very understated in the media, yet a constant topic of discussions in school board meetings lately, like up in Minnesota right now. They're seeing elementary classes with at least 35 students and even more than that at the secondary level. Worse yet, many of their classes are not only violating union class size limitations, but are also being combined with multiple grade levels because they can't find anyone to fill positions. One example of this is with a kindergarten and first grade class being put together, thus increasing the burden on that teacher who has to multitask even more than they already do. To put this in perspective, allow me to relate a personal experience. When I was in fifth grade, I was in a sixth grade combo class, so this isn't inherently a new thing. The difference was that back then it was ungodly rare, and we're only talking about like three or four sixth graders in that class because if they had put them in an existing sixth grade class, they would have gone over those union contract limitations. And these students actually got the same curriculum and attention as they would have otherwise, since there weren't many of them, and the sixth grade teacher next door routinely came by and made sure that they didn't fall behind and still received a quality education. It wasn't a perfect fit, but it worked and didn't impact anyone negatively since it was managed so well. But that's not what's taking place anymore. Now there is no such support. One teacher has to teach multiple different grade levels at the same time, give them effective instruction and attention, and make sure that they are progressing at grade level, all while dealing with increasingly bad classroom management issues and other mandates. There comes a point when students aren't really able to learn as effectively like that, and teachers aren't able to give them that quality education. Students suffer when there are too many other kids in the room. Overstimulation is a genuine problem, and kids will eventually feel disconnected from not only the content, but their teacher because of how busy or noisy it is. Their social development has and will continue to suffer from this, and it's led to the decreasing literacy rates and test scores we see across the country right now. I mean, 40-year-old research in Tennessee showed that students in classes between 13 and 17 students did substantially better on exams than those with more than 22 students. Yet somehow we are continuing to jam more kids in there to the point that kids don't even have a desk anymore. My last year of teaching, the sizes in my middle school classes were bursting at the seams, and the administrator's solution was to get rid of all the individual student desks and just put in those large multi person ones that you might see in a boardroom. The kids ended up never feeling like they had their own space because of that decision, too. I always cite and remember a great quote that I'll say here: "It's a classroom, not a clown car." And large classes really take their toll on already worn out educators. Teachers work an average of 54 to 65 hours a week with very little pay, and that has led to crippling mental health issues and stress due to the increasing demands of having to manage so many students at once. My very first class in my first year of teaching had 18 students in it, and it was wonderful. So many great conversations could be had, everyone felt included, and the engagement was just top notch. Everyone had great scores in there, and I felt like I could actually form a rapport with them. I still keep in contact with a couple of those students, actually. But by my last year of teaching, yeah, my classes were pushing 40, and our union cap that I mentioned earlier was 36, which is already way too high to begin with. Add the increasing discipline issues and lack of repercussions for misbehavior, and you end up with a class that's damn near impossible to manage, even for a seasoned veteran. The only compensation for going over that cap, by the way, was a tiny little stipend every month. One of the teachers in my department actually had to take out a sixth class to balance things out a little more, so she didn't even have a conference period at all the whole year. Plus, just like practically all teachers these days, those of us who did have a prep period had to constantly go and cover other classes because there were never enough substitute teachers. So I rarely had time to grade, prepare lessons and materials for my classes, and couldn't really foster a proper learning environment where relationships would flourish. Everyone was disengaged, and I couldn't keep up, and few teachers can. It's one of the main reasons why we're quitting. We are absolutely exhausted. Just take a look at this chart published by the NEA and Oregon Department of Education on statistics pre COVID to see the beginning of this trend. And to get more personal, I don't show this picture very often, but this is a photo my partner took of me about 6 weeks before I went out on medical leave after getting back from what was essentially a 13-hour day in my classroom. I was bent over and tired, holding onto my cat just to feel something because I had nothing left to give. I had already started the doom spiral that would not long afterwards lead to my permanent departure from education. Oh, and that wasn't even the end of the week. That photo was taken on a Thursday, actually. I can guarantee every teacher listening or a person who knows a teacher can say that they've had or witnessed a story just like that one. Students and staff alike are buckling under the weight of our class sizes. There's even some schools which have essentially turned their cafeterias into makeshift lecture halls because they're so overcrowded and understaffed. I believe there's one example in Georgia, but I wasn't able to find the news article to show you. But worse yet, these larger class sizes are often no longer given the English learner special needs and other aids that help the teacher to effectively do their job. I stopped having an aide in my second year of teaching because there wasn't funding for them anymore. And again, no one wanted to take that job because of the high stress and low pay, just like teachers themselves deal with now. Regardless, though, what you're seeing here is the human toll that large class sizes take on everyone. Students don't have the chance to succeed like they used to, and teachers are being crushed by the stress. You didn't used to see mid year teacher resignations at all, outside of a very few rare exceptions, but now they're becoming the norm. People aren't waiting until June to quit and are doing it at all points in the year, just like I did. One of those school districts in Minnesota that I mentioned sees their highest turnover rates in November and February now, just as an example. I've said it before and I will keep saying it. Teaching is a great career, but a terrible job. And it's a job that keeps getting worse by the day. The rise in class sizes alone is contributing to that reality, and I don't see anything getting better until we have fundamental reform of the entire system, which is built upon a tower of band aids. But unfortunately, I don't see that happening anytime soon. But with that, I'll end there for the day. As always, thanks for listening, and if you could take a moment to click like, comment, and subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. It helps a lot, and I would really like to keep growing and reaching more people in the future. For now, though, I've been Kevin, and I'll see you in the next video.